Okay. I forgot to mention, so the mics aren't for the room, they're for the recording. So if you just make sure your mics are on, we'll get started. A bunch of AV people theoretically don't have to be told that. Ooh, this was sliding.
Check.
All right, so welcome. This is the Capital Projects panel. If you thought you were somewhere else, you are not where you thought you were going to be, but you are where you're supposed to be, I know. My name is Josh Hamon. I'm from a company called Stantec. We do consulting on all kinds of things. We like to start meetings with a Stantec moment. It can be a design moment, inclusion moment, safety moment. Today I chose mental health and well-being, the mind-body connection. Your mind is in your body, so your body affects your mind affects your body. You need to take care of them both. It's easy to forget that sometimes, that it is not as simple as just exercise more or a little more sleep, but those things help. But also the things you do to take care of your mind, like laughter, working on resilience, and last one, tending to your spiritual wellness. My multinational corporation said that. I'm a little surprised, but a little impressed. A little bit about me real fast, and we'll get on to the meat of the things. Hi, I'm Josh. I'm the US West AV team lead at Stantec. I've been back at about 5 years. I took a little break to work at a small software company called Oracle. This is my third year hosting this panel. Every year we've got to do it at the host conference, and I've really appreciated it. It's been very different discussions each time. But I think that's part of the uniqueness of this sector, right? When AV people in education have a good idea, they want to share it. They don't want to hide it. That's a really fun part of this group. But also each institution is totally unique, and so what works at one institution is completely useless at the next, or what would never work at one institution is genius. And so I think part of that sharing mindset, this is the goal of the panel, that we've gathered a few great folks to share what they're doing, and I'm hoping you can take away some things that, oh, I think I should try that. I think that might really work. I think that might build the relationship. Go in the back door, Zane. I think that might be something I should really give a try. Or a lesson learned. I actually thought that sounded like a great idea. I can't believe that did not work. Maybe I won't do that kind of thing. All right, but you're not here to talk to me or about me or listen to me, so let's get on to the good stuff. This is the last, there's one more slide that says thank you. This is where we're going to sit today, right? So we'll take a minute, and if we could have folks introduce themselves. So what's your position, how long you've been at your institution, favorite color, and favorite candy.
My name is Jake Dada, and I'm with the installation and classroom support team. I started, let's see.
It's May 20th, 2026. You're in the Mountain Time Zone
20th.
On the planet Earth.
And I got my start with, I worked with our service desk, so I was answering calls from faculty primarily and dispatching a team of students around campus to put out fires and solve problems.
You started with that?
I started with that. About 8 years ago, I switched over to installation, and now I design and estimate projects and participate in larger project discussions and kind of help make sure that that those are planned out correctly in a way that we can support them. Yeah, that was it.
Those are the real questions. My throwaway questions were favorite color, favorite candy.
Favorite candy, peanut M&Ms.
Good choice.
And favorite color, red.
All right. Thank you. Patrick?
My name is Patrick Iglehart. I'm the AV director at Slick. Been there for a year and 4 months.
What is Slick?
Oh wait, you're not from here.
I'm not from here. Some of these people aren't from here either.
Salt Lake Community College.
Use your microphone.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been doing capital projects. I think my first capital project was a library in 1994. So I've been doing this for a while. I have about 38 years of experience in AV. What's my other questions? What else do you have?
Color. Favorite color?
Color. That's a toughie. Let's see. What do we have on? Okay. No, that's no good. Green.
green? Green. All right, thanks. Brett?
I'm Brett Puzey. I'm the Installation Services Manager here on University of Utah campus. So yeah, we run all campus classrooms, installation, maintenance. We do majority of our projects are in-house installs, design. Jake and Andre do the design, coordinating, programming. And so I have been here 15 years, in December it'll be 15 years. Started out as just a working manager, then worked up, got my project management certificate, so now I do all the project management on campus. We do probably 100, I think we're averaging 150 projects a year on campus, classroom-wise. That does not include all the capital because those are all brand new buildings, and until they're turned over to us, they don't count. So,
How many rooms right now, roughly? Or under your umbrella?
We own 250 classrooms on campus, the generally assigned classrooms that we own and we do. But there are probably another 200 classrooms at least on campus, whether they're classrooms or conference rooms, just spaces where they have technology or want technology that we also support and go out and maintain them. We'll do maintenance on them, or we'll do installs for them, work with outside vendors to install them. Yeah, and then my favorite color is red.
Is that required by law?
It is not, because it was red before I started at the U, to be fair. But my daughter's favorite color, unfortunately, is blue. Yeah. The favorite candy is Heath Bar.
Heath Bar.
Yes, they're delicious.
Okay. So just back a second. You own 250 rooms,
Yep.
and you support another 200 rooms, give or take.
Right.
And those support is it proactive support or reactive support,
So
mix and match?
It's reactive. So we ServiceNow. We got ServiceNow on campus for tickets. So they all just submit a ticket, whether it be for their AV system broke, they need us to come out and troubleshoot and fix it, or they have a space that they want upgraded or a new space that they want installed. And then if it's a new install or a request for upgrade, Jake is over those ones for the requests. So he'll usually go out, do the design, do a estimate, and then we'll get everything ordered and go once we get the appropriate funding approved.
Yeah.
If it's maintenance, then Dan, we have another technician that he's over the maintenance, and so he handles majority of the maintenance tickets, and then we pull in the other installers on the side to help out with that. So our team, me and Jake, and then we have Dan, he does maintenance, and then we have 2 installers, so there's 5 of us
Okay.
on our team that fall underneath Adam. So
Okay. And then what about all those help desk tickets, ServiceNow tickets? How big is that group?
that group is us.
You are that group too.
Yeah.
So it's the 5 of you.
The 5 of us do the maintenance. We do have we have the service desk. They have some part-timers, student part-timers that go out and they help out with like first response, whatever. If an instructor is in the classroom and they're having a problem right now and they call, then we'll usually send somebody out. Joe's team will send somebody out to try and resolve it or set up another system real quick so that they can continue to have their class. If they can't and it's a long term, then the ticket will send, Dan will go out and kind of do an initial within the first 24 hours, kind of check on the room, see if they can fix it. If not, then set up a time to come back and dive into it a little bit further. Then if it does need any kind of repairs, anything, then we move it over to an actual project where we're ordering equipment, redoing the room.
Okay.
And then it comes to Jake for redoing the room and replacing equipment and stuff. So.
Okay. It's almost your turn, Lori. There's just we're set in the lay of the well.
The less I have to talk, the better. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I was going to say last question, but that's not true. Okay, so we've got a sense of your breadth, right? How much you're covering and your team size. How many projects do you have? Not help tickets, not repair. How many projects is the team working on generally?
Generally, so this fiscal year, we're on track. We will close at 150 projects for this year.
Okay.
And then for next fiscal year, we've got 58 right now lined up and funded. The funding will hit July 1st that we can move forward with.
Yeah.
And those are just are generally assigned rooms plus if you heard, like Steve Hess when he was talking during lunch, there's the process, the student computing fees come in, and they take a portion of that, and Adam and a bunch of the other departments on campus will receive proposals, and they'll evaluate proposals, divvy up which ones can and can't be awarded and funded through that, depending on their level of, like, how well they're supported. Obviously, it has to go back to helping the students because it's using student computing fees. So it needs to go back and be a direct benefit for them. And so between those two funds, we have the 58 for next year. Then the rest of them throughout the year will be just department requests throughout the year that something broke or they had extra money, or even some of the projects that get funded through that proposal. We won't get the money directly. The departments will get it, and then they'll either bring us in to install it then, or they can go out in town and help. But then we still, even if they go out in town, we still help them with trying to get a standard across campus.
Right. At this institution, departments do not have to use you. No. They can go to a third party at their leisure if they feel like it. And then when we were in this building and I was asking about the main space, you were talking about the union doing a bunch of work. So you have a bunch of spaces. Which spaces are union spaces? So
the union, just in this building, the union building here, they have their own AV.
So not union like a trade union.
No, not a trade union.
So that was my misunderstanding.
Yeah, this is a student union.
No, that's my misunderstanding from our earlier conversation. That's all. When I said, why do the speakers look like this, and you said because of the union, and I thought trade union, that line of thought made total sense to me. Sure, why not?
Yeah, no, the student union, which is this building, they have their own AV department and events, and they do their own. They don't do their own installs, but they hire out and get their own equipment and stuff. So.
Okay, great. I appreciate that lay of the land for the group, right? Because every institution is unique, and so the U at other places, right, has a different staff count, different rooms, different room count. All of those things are a little different everywhere we go. So thanks for that deeper dive. Okay, last but certainly not least, Lori, tell us about yourself.
My name is Lori Kaczka, and I currently serve as the Executive Director of Facilities over all capital projects for the university. Started out my career architect by trade, had my own business with my husband for about 20 years, came to the U about 11 years ago as a project manager in planning, design, and construction. Got stolen from the state, went to the state for DFCM, Division of Facilities and Construction Management, overseeing construction for the state on university projects, and then got stolen back to the university about 2 years ago as a director for capital projects. Favorite color is purple, and my favorite candy would be something like brownie-like, anything chocolate. My husband said it should be a salty caramel chocolate, because I'm a little bit salty, I'm a little bit gooey in the center, and chocolate is just melts your heart. So, too much information.
I don't know. Well, we'll see.
We are currently doing out on the campus about $4.3 billion worth of work. Currently working on College Town Magic, which is a zone that we are working on for our campus master plan. The state requires that the university and agencies across the university have an updated master plan for campus. We are working on that. We should have Board of Trustees approval of our new master plan this August. Part of that master plan is a smaller piece called College Town Magic, which is the Huntsman Center west to kind of the museum. So we're working on that piece. Part of that is new student housing. It's some other amenities for a new student union, or some dispersed model of a student union. So where I work with these guys is I have a new building, or I have a new classroom that needs to be renovated, or my team is working on that, they work with these folks to make sure that we're, you know, in alignment with what the current, you know, needs are for the classroom, the unit, and make sure that it's all working together.
Awesome, thank you. So then that leads right into the next thing of how do your departments work together currently? Like this. Is that sign language that I don't know?
Mostly, I mean, because most of the time, facilities, so we've gotten it to a point, I guess, we'll backtrack, what, before you left to the state,
Yeah.
was it, yeah, so I've been here, what, 14, 15 years now. In the beginning, it was, we fall underneath University IT. We do the AV, but years ago, it wasn't, like, not everybody was invited to the table.
Sure.
But over several years, like, of us, like me and Adam and my director, like trying to get into the standards committees and stuff, and kind of inserting what we're, like, our vision of what we want AV on campus to look like, started getting more and more involved and getting invited to more meetings.
The standards committee, that's separate from facilities, I imagine?
It is part of facilities, but they set standards for mostly new construction.
Yeah, design standards.
Design standards for, and we're still in the process of, like, we'll re-engage in that again one of these days, but we still don't have AV standards across campus. We have AV standards within our department for the 250 classrooms that we own, but we definitely give our input and our suggestion on all the capital projects and stuff like that, but it's still up to not just facilities. I mean, there's a lot of donors that are involved, and there's a lot of department preferences that don't always align with the way that we would like the AV.
I think there's a few people in this room that can feel that pain.
But it's progressively getting better or easier to have those conversations and stuff. But it's been a progressive relationship building over the years, and I mean, facilities has gone through several directors and reorganizations. We have internally, I think we've merged and unmerged with departments probably 5 times in the 15 years I've been here. So,
Are you were with IT? You're still with IT?
we are now. We just came back 2 years ago underneath University IT. We left University IT for a couple, 3 years maybe, and we were underneath undergraduate studies. But then now we're back underneath University IT again. So.
Okay. Lori, when do you bring in the AV team into a project?
Ideally, it would be in design.
Okay, but in reality?
In reality, it doesn't always happen that way, because a lot of the projects don't have a true design phase. It's more like, hey, Dean so-and-so is in, they want to change this, they want to change that, go. So there's a lot of disconnect when we do the smaller projects of getting these guys integrated. When we do the bigger projects, we have something that we call an OPR, which is an Owner's Program Requirements. And that's a document that we start at the very beginning of any project, right? If somebody's talking about a feasibility study for XYZ project, part of that feasibility study is that document. And that document basically goes through, you know, what they're thinking for lab space, what they're thinking for mechanical space, what they're thinking for AV, what they're thinking for how are they gonna set up all these rooms. All those kind of program requirements that we have is in that document from the beginning, and it then changes throughout the process. So in theory, as we get through the process of design, we go into construction, that becomes part of our bid documents, parts of our responsibility matrix that we establish that says what our consultants are doing, what our contractors are doing, what the university staff is doing, and then they're more integrated into the process as early as possible. The earlier, the better. The longer we wait, the more it costs time, the more it costs frustration, the more we're not ready for opening, in the fall for semester. So we try to do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work. A lot of times it's, I need you now, Brett, come save my butt, and that's unfortunate. We're trying to work through those new processes,
Yeah.
and really just, what we have found that if we slow down our projects and we scope our projects, we can better fund our projects, and then we can have a clear path to making them successful without the last minute frustration and I can't find this, and did you order this, and all that kind of stuff. So it's really starting out slower and getting everybody involved as soon as possible.
I think we should have brought a dean here, and I could have asked the dean how they work with them.
So we call that the 3 Ds in our department, the deans, the donors, and the docs. Those are the 3 Ds that we have to kind of educate on campus, because those are our 3 biggest problem children. Deans, donors, and doctors, right? And truly, because you get a donor that comes in and says, yeah, this is great, I don't like it anymore, switch it out. Okay, or I've decided we're gonna go in a different direction. Or Dean XYZ changes or leaves to another university, and now we have Dean ABC, and that dean doesn't like what we've done. Those are challenges. Yeah, questions?
I comment, we had a dean a donor through a dean that gave us some pictures of classrooms they wanted, and it was a picture from one of the recent Star Trek movies. with a hologram. And,
Oh, yeah.
It was like,
Awesome.
Awesome.
How'd that work for you?
It didn't quite look that way.
Awesome.
But it was education for sure.
Right.
To help them understand what's actually realistic.
Yeah,
And cost too.
right, exactly.
Well, it gives you the opportunity to set the expectations up front of like, hey, that's great that you want Star Trek.
Yeah.
But even within code, that's not going to work, like, because
Right.
legally we cannot do that.
Right.
And be able to do it. And I think is part of your document that listserv that goes out for Bluebeam.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so once they start a project, we've gotten it to a point now where we use Bluebeam to review the documents and the drawings
Right.
and everything.
Bluebeam's a PDF markup tool.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we can go in and mark them up, and we can put our comments in there. And so now I'm invited to every single project that is started on campus, whether it has AV, whether we're going to be involved in it or not. And then I can go into Bluebeam, I can put comments, or I can be like, yeah, you're replacing the roof. I don't need to be involved
Yes,
in this.
yes. Thank you for making sure the AV needs of this roof are small.
Yes.
Right.
Unless if they're removing the entire room and roof, and then we're like, yeah, we probably should remove the AV, so because there's not going to be a roof.
Or at least put a tarp over it. Like, at
Yeah.
least-
Yeah.
Okay.
And then additionally, Brett can delegate to me and say, hey, can you sit in on this meeting?
Yeah.
And and that's where I can come in and participate at that point. And that works
'Cause
pretty well.
Jake knows a lot more about the specific design stuff and how it actually connects together than I do. So I used to could, not so much anymore.
And I think that's really important too, because we have our consultants and we have our architects, and then we have our maintenance people. And I think for the longest time, a lot of people didn't realize that somebody has to take over this building at the end. So you might as well learn about it in design and be part of that decision making, instead of, here you go, here's your nice building, don't call me, see you later. Now when we get people involved sooner, we're getting that expertise across the board, because it affects everything on the project,
Right,
right?
because I'm a consultant, so I'm
Correct.
sometimes in that space,
Right.
and I ask, who's the
Right.
AV point of contact? So-and-so in facilities.
Yeah,
Do you,
exactly.
oh, are they an AV person? No.
No,
Okay,
Right.
can I talk to an
You know
AV?
one, though.
Can I?
Yeah.
Do you have AV people? Yes, we do. Can I talk to
Yeah.
them? No. You can talk to so-and-so in facilities, and it's like, okay, it's going to be one
when
of
I
those.
first came to the university, it was like, you don't talk to facilities. We were in design and construction. Don't talk to facilities. I'm like, how backwards is that? These people are going to own this thing. You're going to give this child to this group, and they're going to need to take care of it. So get them in the meetings and get them part of our solution, so that there's not a problem when we hand it over.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm inclined to move on to learning a little bit of how you got to where you are today, but I wanted to check if there were any other today kinds of comments, right? You try to include them early, InDesign is great. I've definitely also done projects where I get to meet Brett at 90% design, which is when you're pretty much done. This is almost ready to go out to bid. And Brett's job at that meeting is to say, I love it.
Construction?
And then, but of course, we've never talked, so whatever I've designed works, but is it the standard? Is it what they're doing on campus? No, it's not.
Usually, at that point, if it's already that far along, the reason we're getting called in is because they call us and they're like, hey, we're $1 million over budget on AV. We need to cut it down. So I need you to come talk to the consultant so we can cut down the AV portion of it. Or they just wipe the AV off and be like, hey, just as long as you put the infrastructure in, we can fund it later. We'll come and put it in later, but make sure that your infrastructure is in.
Yeah.
All right, so we'd love to hear, right, you talked about this has been an improving relationship over time. How did it start? I know that's kind of personal in terms of like your relationships with people start at certain times. Did it start in close to that place? Did it start terribly? Did it start? Actually, it was way better in the past, and we've really taken a few.
We've really gone downhill. No, so when I started, it was. I mean, it wasn't. It was more like you were saying. It was very siloed, and it wasn't. Not even just facilities. It was all across
Everybody.
campus. The university IT was siloed. All the departments, every building had their own IT managers, their own IT networks, and so even to get connection across all of campus was difficult, and so we had to start like interjecting ourselves and trying to get into meetings or space planning is another one of the keys that is our problem child. That, like we would go in with a well-installed AV system. 2 months later, space planning and the department's like, hey, we're ripping this building down, or we're ripping this room out and remodeling it. And of course we are, because we just redid it. And so after probably a year or so of that across campus, whether it's space planning having issues or like small maintenance projects coming in and undoing what we just did, we started like, okay, we need to find a way to get in the front of the project and at least get the information, even if they're not listening to us, at least we know what is coming and what's going into it. Pushing ourselves, kind of inviting ourselves to some of the meeting, kind of talking with our directors and making them aware of our frustrations and stuff so that they could bring it up a little bit higher. And I think it finally got up to Steve Hess, our CIO. He was our director years ago for digital learning technologies back when we were media services, instructional media services. He was our director, and so he was really like, oh yeah, like he said out there during lunch, like it's a key. Technology in classrooms is pretty important to instructing students and give them a good education. And so he was a good ear to have in to where he was over university IT, and so we started getting more IT account managers that would go to the meetings and start in the beginning and start inviting, whether it be IT, the security like Secure and the cabling people and stuff. So making sure that we had a representative, even if it was just one person that could then distribute out, like, hey, we need this person and this person, and then that's where we got to building up that list of, I think there's probably 50, 60 people on that list that get emails every time that comes out, and so everybody across campus. But it took several years of going to meetings and trying to get in and kind of explaining really what we do. And then we did set up a couple workshops for the facilities project managers to kind of invite them.
Did you ever go to one?
And kind of just be like, hey, this is what we can provide to you.
Yeah.
Like, we can help you with the standards. I know you're out there getting bids from consultants and stuff, and we work well with all of our consultants in the state or whatever, and we know most of them. We're like, okay, this is so-and-so's designing this. We can talk to them about why we would like this instead of what they're designing. Like, even though, like you said, like, you're going to design a system, you know it's going to work, but it maybe doesn't fit.
Be nice if it was like the rest of your systems.
Yeah, in the
Exactly.
standard. But then we also provide, like, we have standard code sets. We're a restaurant-based university, so we have all of our standard code sets. Even if we're not installing it, we can, and we provide the code for the touchscreens and everything. So at least, even if the back end doesn't do the same exact switching, the front end, the instructor is going to get the front. It's going to look the same. The buttons are going to do the same thing, even if a different programmer did his way of programming on the back side, as long as the front side looks the same. And the network side of it has been probably the other hard part of just getting the networks working with UIT and internally to get VLANs set up across campus that we can actually monitor rooms and have our own IP addresses and have it separated out from the network so that we can do the AV systems.
Yeah, you could do a whole nother panel just on the AV department and the IT department.
Yeah.
For sure. Again, at every university, in every facility, every institution, they're all a little different. Lori, how would you describe like that history, right? He talked about the frustrations of like doing work and then like, oh, it got ripped out in 3 months, and working to find his way to the table, not just you, but the team. What about you? Like, what was the past like? I know you took a little break.
Well, when I first came to the university, I was literally given a project that was that replaced our biggest classroom building on campus, which was OSH. And the building is called Gardner Commons. It's about 220,000 square feet, all classrooms mostly, a couple of departments in it. But I was handed the project from the project manager who went up and worked on the hospital. Like, here's the project, see you later, don't call me. Love her, but it was like, really? And
where was it in the timeline, that project?
It was, we were starting, it was about 70% designed, maybe 50%. And so we had to go through design, we had to demo a building, we had to move a duct bank, lots of stuff, right in the heart of campus, just not far from here. And that's when I didn't have any, I had just been in Utah just a year or two. I didn't have anybody on campus that I knew. I just started calling people. And I'm like, that's pretty much how I met you. I was like, okay, dude, but what do we need to do here? Because I got lots of classrooms, right? It's a 5-story building, mostly classrooms. And that's kind of how we worked. It's like, how do we get people involved? And people are like, oh, no, you don't call facilities and tell this. I'm like, that's just crazy. I need people in because I need to know what I need to tell these people that are designing this building. So that process, I think, has gotten better. I think it kind of went away with COVID and everything. Everybody went home. Nobody's talking to each other. So we are encouraging people to come back to campus and to be on your projects. I do not think that you can be a project manager and not be on your job site. If you're not on your job site, you don't know your project, and you should be on job sites with these people. So that is getting better. I think the other thing is that the technology is something that I certainly can't keep on top of, and these guys, it's changing so much. Why wouldn't you look at people and say, hey, I don't know what to do here. My consultant is saying this. He's probably getting kickbacks. I don't know, but I need to know what you guys think.
He wishes he was.
Right? I mean, it's crazy because it depends on if we're doing this kind of building or that kind of building. We just finished up the life science, or not life science, but the LS applied science building, which integrated an old historic building in with a new building. It's about 140,000 square feet total. An old building of 40,000 square feet that was an old classroom building way back when. And then a new portion that's all science and labs and things like that. We have a big wall in there. It was challenging, but we've taken all of those kind of lessons learned, and we're now applying those to the Price Computing Building, which is the next kind of big building to open. It's about 340,000 square feet.
Can you give some details on some lessons learned?
I think it's more what.
Do you want them to leave and then you can really tell us?
No. Well, a lot of it is what people. I don't think people understand what they want. I think it's more about asking the right questions at the right time, because it seems like we're asking the questions at the wrong time.
Okay.
The applied science building that I'm talking about, that started in like 2018, because we have to do these need statements for these buildings. We then have to go to the Board of Trustees, and then we have to go to the legislature, and then COVID hit. And it was crazy, right? So we finally get this building funded, we get it approved, we get it funded, and from there, we went through at least 2 deans. We went through some department changes, and just a lot of changes that then meant this room was going to change and how we're going to do AV in this room, or how we're going to do it. Teaching methods changed, how they're changing because of COVID, brought another set of dynamics and design that we didn't really anticipate.
Yeah.
So it was more, how are we going to work with these guys to make it better? So we went with, what is that screen, 9? It's got 9 different sections to it. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's the Absent
Yeah.
screen downstairs.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, but it was like very complex. No one really knew, even our, I would say even our consultant, it was all new technology, thought it was going to be great. So there were some challenges, right? But we've taken those challenges now as a lessons learned to our new computing building and said, this is what we learned on applied science. Here's how we have to apply it now. Let's do it now while we're still framing, and get these guys involved. So.
Awesome. I think that we could transition now to, I'd like to hear about what the AV group brings to facilities, right? It's really great to hear that you want to bring AV in early, that you get to get invited to every project, even when it's like, yeah, there's no scope for me, right? That's really great, right? Because that builds the trust that you're always in the loop, right? You're never worried that there's a secret project. Right, and those are great things. You doing workshops, I think that's something that I don't know if everyone here has done workshops for their facilities teams or their IT teams, trying to explain what you do and how you do it, right, within your university. I don't think that's not something I hear all the time. Some of that stuff's really great, but what makes them a good partner, or what makes them an improving partner in terms of you? Because, right, you're not just thinking about AV, you're not just thinking about IT, you're thinking about you have civil concerns, utility concerns, code, you're thinking about a bunch of things. You have a lot of people on a design team making it happen. You're not doing it by yourself. But AV is a piece of a big puzzle.
Right.
So AV, part of the reason you bring them along is because they're helping your project get done. What are some of the things they're doing that help that project get done? Obviously technical stuff. They're bringing technical expertise. That's really helpful. But anything else they're doing that makes them a good partner? Or
one of the things that we are challenged with is that all of our project managers are not necessarily engineers, architects, whatever. Some of them don't have a degree. Some of them are just, they've worked their way up and they like doing projects, right? Some of them are electricians, some of them are plumbers, some of them are, just came in and started liking what they're doing. So they don't have the knowledge of what it goes into the science of building a building, or building a space, or changing a space. They don't understand, like, if you rip down this wall, then you've got to replace the sprinkler head, you've got to change the ceiling, you've got to look at the mechanical, you've got to look at air exchanges. They don't understand that if you change this and change that, it could have an AV component. These guys, for me, I will tell my project managers, have you reached out and asked about such and such? What are you trying to do in that space? If you want to take a conference room or 2 offices and turn it into a conference room, what does that mean from an AV standpoint? What do you need? And telling them to call people, because these guys are the experts. They're going to know certainly more than I do, more than most of the project managers. So there needs to be that partnership. They need to ask questions, and they need to ask these guys so that they can also be, the project managers can be in a room and say, hey, I don't understand this. I have this meeting with our consultant. Can one of you guys come and just tell me what I don't know? That's the best part of it, is that they can be a partner in the stuff that we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are there things, Are there things you think like you're trying to bring to the table to facilities, or things you've been changed over the last few years and you found that's improved the partnership aspect of things?
I think we've done stuff to not hurt the relationship.
Okay, that counts too.
That's true.
That's fair. Some people are positive people, some people are not negative. It's
Well, the
okay to
other
be a
thing
not
that
negative
we've done
person.
too is we have looked at our processes for starting any projects, because we had people, like we would go into I would walk through the building, business, and there would be a project going on. I'm like, who is doing that project? And it's like, nobody knew about it. So we have gotten senior leadership to say, if you don't have a project request, you don't have a project. And I can go in there, the code official, anybody can go in and say, stop constructing on this building that is not your building. This is a state asset, stop construction. I can walk in, if I see something that has not been approved, I can shut it down, and I have. So what we did is we went through and said, we need to have a project request form where you have to go through and tell what your project is, tell what the implications are. Do you need AV? Do you need sprinkler? Do you need mechanical? Do you have funding for it? And, oh, by the way, who's the cognizant VP who's going to sign off on this? If we don't have that form, we don't have a project. That has streamlined our processes so much and stopped all the little siloed projects to a great extent. Some of them are still out there, but for the most part, we know what projects are coming down and how we can fund them. And if I've got a capital improvement project going on and we need to do something AV-wise, we can add it to that project so that we're not tearing down this wall, tearing this ceiling, and then coming back in and redoing it because we didn't coordinate it. So the coordination is helping a lot by knowing what our projects are and where they're at in each building.
Yeah, if you don't do capital projects, coordination is this really important and scary term, which basically means like making sure all the trades are in alignment on all their requirements, whatever they happen to be. And you've definitely, if you've never used that term or heard of that, like you've definitely experienced the pain of that, right? When you had to, when the lights were in the way, or when there was nowhere to put the speaker, or where those kinds of, or where there was no, put the screen there, that would be great. There's no power there, right? Those, like all of that is coordination.
Yeah.
And design, for me as a consultant, is definitely, like it's all judged by the quality of coordination.
Yeah, 100%.
In terms of during construction.
Yeah.
So we are getting close on time, and I've not given the audience much time to speak except for the one. So do we have any questions for our panel? Things, hey, how could I try, what if I try this? Have you tried that? You have a capital projects person in the room who won't have hard feelings because you're going to leave. No, except for Adam. Adam, you should play nice. Right? This is a great time to ask any of them things they've tried, haven't tried, other innocuous questions around colors and candy. Please.
So I love the workshop idea. I have not tried that, but in my current role, I represent IT on all projects, campus-wide. Training our project managers and construction managers on the importance of AV and IT is so critical. And those jobs keep changing. People come in, come out. Training them on that would be, I think, very, very helpful. So my question actually goes back to the standards. You have 250 classrooms that you manage, 200 that you support. So how do you get the standards, somewhat in line with your 250 that you manage to be able to support those other ones so that departments aren't just buying whatever they want?
Go ahead. So we just went through a major redo of our design standards this last year. And what we did, because we get money from the state, right, from the Division of Facilities and Construction Management, we have to present our projects to them. And part of them was we need to be in alignment with our standards. So the state has their own design standards. And what we did is we noticed that our industry partners were going through, the state standards, and then the university standards, and then the student housing standards, and then the code. And it's like, just stop. Let's consolidate it and make it easy on our consultants. So right now we've taken the state standards, and then underneath that, if ours are above are more restrictive, we put that in red. So it's like, here's the state standard, here's the University of Utah standard, and we have that on our website. Our goal is to update those standards because things change. You know, these guys want to use something else other than Crestron, whatever it is. We're changing those yearly, so that, and in the same format. And they're following the state. So the state's going to change their standard, then we'll change ours, and then we'll reissue it on our website. So that's one of the things that we're doing.
Yeah. Well, and then for getting to our standards, like we've been a Crestron house for 20 years, whatever, and so it's going through and basically doing our design and then getting feedback from the instructors, being proactive if they want to test out a technology, or because we get weird requests all the time, like, oh, I want this. Like we've gotten the architecture is always like, oh, we want to touch multi-touch and do this. I'm like, that's not a thing. But so we'll be able to go out and like budget for R&D to go out and try and research standard equipment that will be supported by our Crestron systems. Currently in our program, we have our standard programs and stuff, and we try not to, we just want to keep it as simple as possible, and then have instructors give us feedback, like, okay, that didn't work, or like, we would really like this. But we also have everything in the Fusion server to where we can go and pull up like information on how many times VGA has been used in the last decade, or everything. And we can base our standards off of what people are actually using. Also feedback from what they would like to use. We've used that over the years, and then we've got instructional designers and stuff like that. They like to mess around with how it looks too. So, and then we take it up to the standards committee, and then they're like, no, it needs to be this way, it needs like this, and then we switch it and change it until we're all in agreement. Mostly. And then School of Medicine goes and does something completely different.
Ouch. Donor.
I don't think you'll ever get away from that tension, right? Because it'd be nice to have everything be the same, but like,
Yeah.
it's not really going to happen because of the 3Ds, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But the more you can get standardized, the more streamlined you can be. If you're 80% standard, you're ahead of the game of a lot of institutions,
Yeah.
right? And if you're at 30% and you're just working your way up, you're working your way up. That's where you happen to be at in your journey. Any other questions?
School of Medicine's on their own.
So with your form, the
Project request form?
project request form,
Yeah.
that you said there's a section where you need AV
Mm-hmm.
in your project.
Mm-hmm.
If they say no to that, do you still add them to the list of people to inform about the project?
Yes.
Because I've noticed that AV is sort of taken for granted. It's
Yes.
sort of just like this background thing that nobody thinks about, and so they go, oh, we don't need AV. And then later they kind of realize.
So this is a great question, because we had somebody just a few weeks ago fill out the form, went to a Cognizant VP, and then so I had our university campus is in districts, so we have like the academic district, we have the athletic district, we have the housing district, we have all of that, right? So part of that structure is we have a district manager. So once we get that project request form, it has to go to a district manager, and this district manager is required to go and meet with the person that submitted the form and say, what do you want? So they go into their buildings and they say, we're taking these three offices and we're turning it into a training room, but we don't need this, we don't need that. That district manager knows their buildings in theory and can say, you can't put that on that wall because there's no power, and you can't do this on that wall because of this and this and this. That district manager then comes through and can change the form, and before the Cognizant VP signs off on it, he can say yes, no to the AV. It's worked really, really quite well. I'm shocked at how well it's worked. And we had a lot of projects that were kind of in transition where, oh, the XYZ school wanted to do all this stuff. but they didn't have funding, they didn't have this, they didn't have that, then they're always calling us going, hey, I need this and I need that, and where's the AV guy? And they have their own AV people. It's like, no, you can't do that anymore. And the good thing is that it got messaged out by the COO of the university. Actually went out and said, this is the process. You will follow it or you won't get funding. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, wow. I think that was a good catch, though. Like, if you check no and then you didn't get informed, suddenly
Yeah.
like, oh, you're not actually getting invited to everything, and like, oh no.
Right.
But that's part of improving process, is finding those catches.
Yeah, for sure.
Because some people, right? When you say, do you need AV? You have to also ask. You almost have to ask them, what do you think AV means? Because I've done projects where I said, well, oh, we don't use AV in such and such a space. Well, you don't have any displays? Well, sure, we have displays. Those are IT.
Right.
Oh, I guess you could define it however you want, but right, I wouldn't define a display as an IT device personally. I'm a little biased. All right. I think we have time for a couple more questions, and then the reception starts at 4. But they are forced to stay here until you leave. All of you leave, so don't feel rushed. I didn't tell them until right now because it works better that way. Any other questions? Have you tried? I tried this, it didn't work. How could I do,
Yeah. You mentioned how you got access to construction documents through Puzey and all that. What was that approach to get them to give you that access?
So we have as a standard in my office coming out of planning, design, and construction, that when you have a project and it's going into design, we do a Bluebeam session. And it happens at about 35% schematics, and then at about 50% design drawings. And it's just basically, we upload the drawings and we send it out to our partners across the university, and they go in. It's open usually about 7 to 10 days, and they go in, or they assign someone to go in and make comments on the plans.
But there was a time in the past where that wasn't the case. Was what changed that made that
So that was during once we had started the conversations with our directors and then the CIO, and we started getting invited to the more meetings, and then we sat down and had those training, the seminars and workshops. Then the directors at the time were like, oh yeah, we'll invite you to Bluebeam. I'm like, what's Bluebeam? And so jumping in at that point, then they just gave us access to get into Bluebeam. So now everybody that's invited to the meeting has access to Bluebeam, and that's where everybody can go in and do their markups and their comments, and everything is tracked throughout the whole project after that until it's final close.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then the architect has to respond to every one of those comments. And it can't be, got it, no. Like, yes, we will look into it.
They don't have to change and implement what you said,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
At least they have to.
yeah, they
go
have
and
to address
evaluate
it.
and make sure
Yeah,
that-
yeah.
Does your team use Bluebeam?
We do have it for our own markup, but we will get plans from facilities, kind of as more of an email, some PDFs to us, and it's then that's our chance to mark up for certain projects, and so something like that just doing it in a more structured, formal way just sounds wonderful. So.
And I don't know where the funding for Bluebeam comes from, if you pay for that, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, the question might be to them, what are they doing? Because they are probably not trading PDFs via email attachment.
Well, right, yeah.
Probably, hopefully.
No.
My hope would be for our facilities department to let us into their.
Yeah.
Bluebeam sessions.
Yeah, we set it up. We set it up as a review session. And then we have a standard list of people that it goes out to. In theory, every project manager sets it up, and they're supposed to go through the invite list so that Brett doesn't get a roof project. So sorry about that, dude.
Oh, that's fine.
We'll-
No, it's good. No, that's a good
Open
thing.
it up
Keep
and
doing
There
that.
is no AV in there, so.
Yeah.
I would rather get more invites than less invites.
You're the first person that's ever said that, but okay.
Well,
Awesome.
raise your hand if you agree with that. You want more invites, not less invites.
Wow. Do you need a job?
So, sorry, I had a thought occurred to me. So you did workshops for them. Another thing that you guys might try, and then tell me how bad of an idea this is after you do it. is you might ask Lori, your Lori, to do a workshop for you. Hey, your Lori, can you do a 20-minute, 30-minute, like your process, how you do things, like train me on how to work with you.
We've actually started doing that.
Okay, so it might be working here, right? Sometimes, right, it can be a both ways thing, but it can be a good relationship builder. You talked about training the PMs. I don't disagree with that at all, but I probably would never say that to a PM, that I am training you, right? I'm learning to be a partner or some whatever diplomatic doublespeak you like. But that might be another thought too, is not only, hey, can I do a workshop and show you how I do work, because I'm not training you secretly, but also the flip, hey, how do I work with you? Because maybe they're not using Bluebeam. Maybe they're using Miro or Adobe Pro or whatever. And you kind of don't care. You just want to be, you want the seat at the table. You don't care what, you don't care what the table is. Zane?
How do you guys proactively work with like learning technology teams to implement like upcoming SaaS solutions? So like for us at Boise State, we're trying to do Zoom rooms. We have the solution. Our classrooms weren't retrofitted for it, but now we're doing upgrades. But it's hard for us to communicate and really bring everyone together on that because we don't fully know what the SaaS companies are going to put out. Do you guys have a process for that? Does that make sense? Or like Panopto's the easy one, like the video solution.
Yeah.
You guys work with that team.
So Panopto we haven't done a lot with. The School of Law has done a lot with the Panopto over the years, but I think they might have gotten off of that also now. But we've been doing a lot of Zoom rooms on campus now too, and so it's our Andre. He does all of our programming, and he's our network admin as well.
Okay.
So during this whole thing, he's been working on getting VLANs, a video VLAN and a control VLAN set up in all across campus in every building, so that we can either restrict the rooms to only campus, or if we need to get out on campus, have the VLAN set up to where all the ports and everything we already have the VLANs, we have the firewalls and everything standard and set, that he can just put in a request into UIT, like, hey, this is the port, I need it on whatever VLAN is reaching out to the outside for the Zoom calls and the Zoom rooms and things like that, so that we can tighten it down and isolate it, or we can open it up to the broader to actually go out. And that's one of the, so we actually looked into XIO Cloud to do for Crestron, to do monitoring and stuff, and determined like, okay, we don't want that because all of it has to reach out to the cloud, but we don't want that, and so we're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to stick with what we're doing, so that we can keep control of the what streams are going in and out for those rooms and stuff. And so it's taken a long time to get University IT on the same page as like, okay, yeah, these are the VLANs, or these are the settings that because some of our they don't want AV just sitting on the network and wide open, and so like Steve had said, we got flagged, like one of the departments got breached or whatever, and so they've been tightening it down for the last several years, and so it's justifying to University IT and whoever's in charge of those switches that, yeah, we do need this port open so that we can. So that's how we've been managing it, to get our Zoom rooms and stuff going, but it's a process.
Cool. Yeah, we, for better or worse, have 3 different people that manage some of our Zoom solutions. And I try to talk with all 3 to combine them, but it's still hard. Even though we want to talk together, it's still really hard. So
Yeah, and we've done the same thing over years. Like, we'll sit down with the 3 different departments and try within University IT to try and come up with a solution. And like yeah. Even though you're in the same department, all the lines don't point to the same direction. So.
How many
And
Zoom
We'll
rooms?
switch it up next week anyway, so it doesn't matter.
How many Zoom rooms on your project?
I don't actually know that. So I'm the Zoom admin. I'm the master control for everything. Our network admin, to your point, manages our Zoom room, our Zoom telephony and then how our Zoom rooms get managed. And our classroom AV team manages the Zoom room deployment. So I just kind of orchestrate the turning on and flipping of switches while they do the routing. But it's hard to be proactive for how do we design classrooms, how do we implement this, how do we be maybe like Zoom room first. So it's hard.
Right, it'd be a big change. You need a lot of buy-in from a lot of groups to make that happen.
There's the buy-in, it's just, budget.
That'd be one of the buy-ins, yeah, for sure. I think you had one more. You think you had a question?
Yeah, so one of our challenges has been, we'll get funding for a new building or a major remodel. One of the buildings, our education building 10 years ago, we had $1 million in AV. However, our refresh budget did not increase by $1 million. And so how do you make sure that when you're building new buildings or when you're adding on classrooms with technology, that automatic budget increase is included in your ask for money?
We always do an escalation factor. So if we go out and we budget something, like, because a lot of our big buildings, it takes 2 or 3 years to get through the legislature and get funding, we always add an escalation factor of when we think we're putting in this request right now, but we think it's going to start in construction 5 years from now, then we have that escalation factor, and that includes our IT budget within that.
So let me rephrase that, I guess. So specifically on the refresh cycle, so the long term.
Building's built.
Now you have
Gotcha.
additional AV that you're going to have to support. How do you make sure that is budgeted for?
Make sure that you're not in charge of that department.
Well,
So that would be
Lori,
part
say,
of
Lori,
our
is that in
O&Ms.
your
Well, it would be part of our O&Ms probably, right? And
O&Ms?
operations and maintenance budget. So when we do a new building, we also ask for a percentage of the costs of the building is an O&M budget, so
For
operations.
the next 5 years.
For the next 5 years.
That's what, yeah.
So, and that gets as part of the funding program from the state.
But on our campus, so most of them, if it's not, like if there's a new project coming on, like the applied science that just came on, some of those rooms are generally
Department.
assigned classrooms, and so they are now mine. Same about, my budget did not go up. I got the same amount that I did before, but we're lucky enough that we got buildings coming offline and online all the time, that it's pretty much stayed, the room number has stayed the same for what I own. But majority, all the rest of it is department-owned spaces, and so it is their responsibility to budget and be aware of when their system and put some money away, and then they'll, when it does come time or it fails, then they put in a ticket and we come out and assess it, give them an estimate how much it's going to cost to.
Is there
get it done.
do you do a chargeback when you go and help a department? Does the department pay you in some
So
fashion?
we pay for everything up front and we install it, and then we, at the end of the project, we charge them for whatever the equipment.
But I'm talking about a help ticket. They call after project's over because something's not working, and you go and assess it. Okay.
So what we do on our maintenance side of it is if we'll go out there for the first 30 minutes and we'll assess it for free, go out and kind of diagnose. If it's anything that's going to take longer than that, or if there's any pieces that need replaced, then we'll give them an estimate for how much it's going to cost for us to buy it, install it, either reprogram, whatever it's going to cost to get that room back up, and then it's up to them to get the funding and let us know that they want to move forward with it. Otherwise, they just hang out with the broken room.
Yeah.
And we're trying to work with our units and our departments to find out what upgrades they need, so what their facilities conditions assessments are, and include, do you need upgrade for this? What's your anticipated for that? So that we can start budgeting for that and help them budget for it as well.
FCA's, facility condition assessments, that'd be another way kind of into the process, is to try to see the last FCA that was done on a building, see if AV was included. Probably was, but like the quality of that is, you read it and you'll find out real fast. That could be another way to build the bridge with facilities is, hey, next time you do an FCA, my team will do it for, if you can, free. right? And those FCAs are really just they're observational, right? This TV is such and such size, it's such and such age. We expect it would keep working for another 1 year, 5 years, whatever it is, right? You don't recommend. You might say, oh, well, it's less than 5 years. We want a replacement cost, right? That might be part of your FCA, but that could be another road to show value. And then also, if you're doing FCA, if you know they're doing an FCA, well, they're doing an FCA because they're going to put in a budget request with the legislator because they're going to do, like that's an early warning that they have a project in mind for that place. All right, so we are.
Yeah, I was going to say we should probably kind of.
She's not really kicking us out. That's not what that means.
I know, but I am giving you guys that like.
It is a few minutes after 4.
So I'm going to prop the door open. Conversation can continue.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, they're legally required to stay as long as one of you are here. Yeah. No. If we could give our panelists a round of applause. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for your time. You now know who to corner later, right? And ask the question you were too afraid to get recorded.
I counted them up in my phone.
That's right. It's Brett.
Here's his home address.